Hello everyone, welcome back to the world of English literature. We are meeting again with another chapter. The name of the chapter is The Address, which is taken from Snapshots, the supplementary textbook. What is address? What do you mean by address? Address is an inscription or a label or a mark, or in other words, it's about the particulars of a place where someone lives or an institution or organization is situated. Children, now we have to connect this title with the content of the story. You have to learn different areas of the story before we go to the detailed part of it. First of all, let's know about the author. Author's name is Marga Minko. You can see the image on the screen about the author. Let's know a few words about the author Marga Minko. She is a Dutch journalist and author. She lives and works in Amsterdam. I correct it. She lives is wrong. She lived. She is no more. She was born on March 31st, 1920 in the village of Ginneken in the southwest of the Netherlands or Holland. As a young girl, she moved to Breda, the town near her birthplace, together with her parents. Her brother David and her sister Betty, her pious father Solomon, held the position of warden in the local Jewish community and probably made a living as a salesman. So this much information is not necessary here, but I said it because I want to take you to the background of this story. That's the reason why I was speaking more about her. You have to understand that Marga Minko, she is a Jewish lady. Who is a Jewish lady? A citizen, a lady who belongs to the Jewish community, a citizen of Israel. He is the only member of her immediate family to have survived the Second World War. Here I want to mention about the Second World War because this story is happened in the Second World War. Therefore, just don't take it as an imaginary story. This is a true fiction, or in other words, it's a short war fiction which happened at the time of Second World War. Her father, mother, brother, David, and his fiancée. Who is a fiancée? You know about a person. Fiancée is a person who is going to marry a girl. Okay, fiancée is a person or whom someone is engaged to be married. Her sister Betty and husband all were deported to concentration camps, non-returned. So this is very important. This slide is very important because Marga Minko is not only presenting an incident that happened in the Second World War, but she is painfully portraying the different incidents that she had experienced in the Second World War. That's why I was speaking about the family details of Marga Minko. And the last two lines are also important. All were deported to concentration camps. In Second World War, Jewish people, the people of Israel were mostly killed by Adolf Hitler, the dictator. You know about Adolf Hitler, Austrian-born German politician who was the dictator of Germany from 1933 to 1945. He brutally killed a large number of people of all the kinds, especially Israelis. The people of Israel. And those people who were caught were taken to the concentration camps. Concentration camps are almost like a jail, but we cannot compare a jail with concentration camp. In jail, the convicts or the people are released after certain years. But here, nobody will return. Once the people are taken to the concentration camps, they had to complete their life in that prison till the end of their life. I mean, 99.9% of the people were killed brutally in the concentration camps in those days. Almost 75 million people died in the Second World War. 75 million people means what? 7.5 crore people died in the Second World War all over the world, and many of them were Jewish people. Please try to understand. And this only because of Second World War was happened only because of this dictator Adolf Hitler. I'm not speaking more about Second World War because we have to come to the content of it. And also we should know the different incidents happened before the Second World War and after it. She died or dies nevertheless just before her 85th birthday by falling accidentally into an unprotected well. But she survived. She survived means what? She is the only member of her immediate family to have survived the Second World War. And what I want to tell you here is the address narrates, the story address narrates the story of a lady, the author, herself, who after losing her entire family, I have already explained who are the members of the family in the Second World War, returns to the address in order to collect all her family or family's possessions that the author's mother had left with Mrs. Darling, a non-Jewish lady, before leaving her homeland. I hope you can understand now. Before author's mother was leaving her motherland to the concentration camp, she had left an address with her daughter Marga Mingo. Fortunately, Marga Mingo was saved. She was the only child saved in her family, and with that address she is going to the person to collect all her family's possessions. I think you understood. And that is this address is. Children, in this chapter we are going to learn about the author, introduction, characters and summary. Already we have learned about the author. Now we are just going to have a short slide about the theme of the story, address. Actually, address by Marga Mingo revolves around the theme of crisis that we as an individual encounter in our daily life. Of course, we encounter means we meet in our daily life. War brings destruction, pain and loss of lives which impact humans in various ways. However, this story speaks about the narrator and mother's life, how they are disrupted due to war. So this is a true story told by the narrator herself about her family and the different pain they had to meet, especially during the Second World War. Dear children, I hope you can understand this. Now let us come to know the different characters of the story. Of course, a story will have different characters, and characters only will change the different situations of a story. The first character, the protagonist of the story, the address is the narrator. Her name is Marga Mingo. We can find Marga Mingo is the protagonist, hero of the story here, heroine, since she is a lady. Mrs. S is mother of the narrator. I had already explained about Mrs. S. Her full name is not used there, and we are just taking her short name. Mrs. S, mother of the narrator, who is leaving the address of her friend, a non-Jewish lady, where she had kept all her family's belongings. She might have thought before she was moving to the concentration camp, somehow somebody will be managing to go and collect those belongings. And with that intention, she had given the address to her daughter. Mrs. Darling, an acquaintance, friend or very, neighbor of the narrator's mother when she was living in Holland or Netherlands. That is the third character. And fourth character is a girl of 15, daughter of Mrs. Darling. Understand? These are the four main characters. Among these characters, Marga Minko is the protagonist. Dear children, let's have an introduction before we go to the summary of it, and then we'll stop this episode. Definitely, the address is a very touching story since it happened Second World War. Among the different crises, you can call it a tale of war. That's why I told you in the beginning that this is a short war fiction story that was staged immediately after the Second World War. In this war, Hitler and his Nazi army carried out brutalities on Jews. That is what Jews means, the Israelites or Israelites, the people of Israel. Understand that you can call it a tale of war as it narrates two situations, one before the Liberation War and the other post-war. Liberation War is war of independence. The meaning of Liberation War is war of independence. Okay? Of course, war and battle or wars and battles are taking place in different parts of the world for liberating their nations, most probably. And the other post-war. So what do you mean? Or what you understand, what you need to understand by this explanation is, this is a story about the incident that really happened in the life of narrator before the Second World War and after the Second World War. It revolves around the young daughter of Mrs. S. Daughter of Mrs. S means our narrator's mother, who in good faith allows her old time friend Mrs. Darling to carry away all the table silver and precious old things to her own house for safekeeping. The narrator, during her first homecoming, notices many things missing. So with that address, what is the narrator doing? She is going to Mrs. Darling to see the belongings of her mother or family, but she notices many things missing. When she comes back home a second time, so 2 times she is coming to her mother's friend to see her mother's or family belongings with the address that was given to her by her mother before she was leaving to the concentration camp. First time when she came, she found many things were missing. Second time when she came, she sees Mrs. Darling taking away a heavy suitcase. She also told by her mother to remember the address of Mrs. Darling. After the liberation, normalcy returns. The narrator feels like seeing and touching her things. She goes to Marconi Street addresses to see Mrs. Darling. There she gets a very cold reception from her and is not allowed to come inside. So in this meeting, especially in second meeting, she was not welcomed cordially. She knew, Mrs. Darling knew that it was her friend's daughter who has come to see her belongings. And that was mainly the reason why she was not happy to see. It means she was thinking, Mrs. Darling was thinking that she could utilize those things that were kept in her house for safekeeping. But that was a bad habit, but this was a character that was shown by Mrs. Darling, the narrator's mother's friend. There she gets a very cold reception from her and is not allowed to come inside. When she goes there, the second time Mrs. Darling's daughter invites her in. The narrator is sad to see all her mother's precious articles kept in the untidy room in a tasteless manner. Then she decides not to recover them. She even resolves to forget the address. So what is happening at the end? After the second meeting, she realizes, the narrator realizes that her mother's belongings were not kept properly and also looking untidy and in different conditions and not looked after well. There she tries to forget those things which were kept by her mother, and that's what it is written at the end. Then she decides not to recover them. Recover means to take them back. She decided not to or not to take them back. She even resolves to forget the address of her friend, our mother's friend, Mrs. Darling. Or the story tells how war affects the lives of civilians as well. It disturbs the normal life and leads to conflicts and tension. The narrator loses her interest in her old stuff because they evoke the memories of her former life and make her nostalgic. Sometimes you may think why the narrator decides to leave the things there, or why she has decided to forget the address, because she wanted to forget everything that was gone. She had lost everything, especially her family members. And these possessions are nothing more than that. Or nothing more than that means these are nothing in front of the loss of her mother, brother, sister, father, and all the other dear ones. So she decides to forget everything, and she wanted to erase all those things from the memories. I mean the life. I mean the life she had in the past or former life. Dear students, this is the first part of the explanation of the chapter address. We will go with the summary or the detailed summary of the chapter address in the next part till we meet there, or till we meet in the next episode or part of the explanation of the chapter address. I am Santosh, your English teacher, signing off. Take care. Have a wonderful day.